What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC Moveset Guide video. Today we're going to be talking about Rillaboom. This is a Pokemon I thought would maybe fall off a little bit, but honestly has just been dominating the format and is one of the best kind of fake out support type users. It's kind of a unique position where you use it for a lot of fake out pressure, but it also has so much offensive capability that allows you to, mitigate like Flutter Mains or Solunas, things of that nature. So it's a really strong Pokemon and I want to talk about it here today. But if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more videos like this in the future. Let's get into it. So the reason that I initially thought that Rillaboom would not be as good as it had been in previous Pokemon games, well, I guess the only other game it's been in is Sword and Shield, but previous entries and formats was the fact that it lost access to Grassy Glide. Grassy Glide is no longer available. If you didn't know what this move did, it gave Rillaboom priority with this attack when grassy terrain was up. So it allowed Rillaboom to just smack things in the face very, very quickly and just do tons of damage. And I can only imagine what a Terra Grass Grassy Glide would look like, because Grassy Glide was already so oppressive. It would have been absolutely insane. But Grassy Glide is no more, and we also lost access to high horsepower in this game, which I think is really interesting. If you hear a bunch of noise behind me, Link's playing with some toys. But we have Stomping Tantrum still, and we have access to things like Wood Hammer and the signature move Drum Beating. So there are still really solid options in terms of grass and ground type moves that you can use on this. The thing that makes Rillaboom so good though is its defensive capabilities. This Pokemon is so bulky and has really nice offensive stats, and it makes it just a very, very useful Pokemon in terms of being able to eat hits and dish out a ton of damage. So if you're looking at this with a 100 base HP, 90 defense, and 70 special defense, the main item that you're seeing a lot of Rillaboom use is the Assault Vest. It really just allows you to deal with things like Flutter Mains that much more effectively. You're able to just sit out in front of them and take a hit and then deal massive damage back with Wood Hammer or Drum Beating, whatever the case may be, right? Very good in that regard. It also has the ability to be rotated in and remove psychic terrain from things like Indeedee, which is super nice, especially if you're running like Chien-Pao, Dragonite kind of stuff and you need to be able to use those priority attacks. Being able to rotate in and get rid of the terrain that Indeedee sets is very, very beneficial as well. It also is just going to boost the amount of grass type damage that you're doing, along with lowering the damage that things like Earthquake can do. So all in all, it's just a really solid Pokemon with a lot of useful tools, especially, having fake out access is really nice as well. And it just has a handful of really solid moves that it has at its disposal. It also has U-Turn, allowing you to utilize that Assault Vest that much more effectively, be able to rotate and get your fake outs off. Just really solid all around in that regard. I think in terms of Terra typings, you're going to be leaning more toward just going straight for grass to maximize that damage, or fire for a more defensive Terra typing. I think this is just really solid for this Pokemon all around. But there are other moves that you will see this Pokemon run on occasion. For one, you can run other items. One that I think is pretty solid, especially if you're running a more defensively built Rillaboom, would be Rocky Helmet. Being able to rotate this in onto like an Urshifu with Surging Strikes coming at you, take those hits and then just have a bunch of damage dealt back to that Urshifu as a result. Really solid, and because this is so bulky, Rocky Helmet is just a phenomenal item on it. I think that Rocky Helmet all around has really grown as a useful item in this format because of the existence of Urshifu. But I think Rocky Helmet all around is a fantastic item right now. I'm planning on making a short talking about it because a lot of Pokemon are running it. You're seeing it on occasionally Heatran, you're seeing it on Rillaboom, you're seeing it on Amoonguss, you're seeing it on Zapdos. Lots of Pokemon are enjoying. Tornadus is another one. Lots of Pokemon really like having access to this because it just does so much damage in return to Pokemon that are going to be hitting you a lot, especially in the face of Urshifu Rapid Strike. But on top of that, you're also seeing Miracle Seed pop up occasionally. This was very common in Sword and Shield when you were using Grassy Glide. You want to maximize that grass type damage. This allows you to just do that much more damage. You already are going to do a ton with Wood Hammer. You're just going to increase that tenfold. You're doing so much damage with this. Really, really solid all around. This is probably something you're going to see on more offensive spreads and maybe with a little more speed investment. So you're maximizing maybe under a Tailwind setting of the amount of damage that you're doing. But Miracle Seed does still pop up here and there on this particular Pokemon. Now, Pokemon that don't like seeing Rillaboom are going to be things, I've already mentioned it 1,000 times in this video, but Urshifu Rapid Strike is just so popular. Rillaboom just really doesn't care about Urshifu Rapid Strike. The only instance that you really care is if it's like a Choice Scarf variant of Urshifu Rapid Strike. Then you're going to be seeing like U-Turn go off on this, and that is going to be a problem for Urshifu, but for Rillaboom, excuse me. But other than that, Urshifu really doesn't like it, and you are not really seeing as much Choice Scarf. You're seeing more Mystic Water and things of that nature. I think Rillaboom is one of the main reasons that Flutter Mane doesn't feel so oppressive. I mentioned this in the top 10 Regulation D Pokemon video that I made, but I just feel like Flutter Mane, because of Rillaboom's natural bulk and having the Assault Vest as its like main item, Flutter Mane really can't do a whole lot to it, and then you just like smack it in the same term with Woodhammer, and Flutter Mane just has a really rough time going against something like a Rillaboom. So I think for that reason, Rillaboom has been a huge Pokemon in terms of handling those really big threats that were prevalent in the last format. I really think that Flutter Mane just being smacked by a Woodhammer and automatically dying is super big, allowing Rillaboom to be that much more of a threat. Other Pokemon that are new and exciting that may not enjoy this, obviously Basculegion is running around. Basculegion, I am a firm believer that this Pokemon is awesome. I love it to death. Rillaboom smacks this really hard, and it really like, obviously you have Last Respects. Like, not many things are avoiding ghost type damage. Last Respects is doing a ton of damage to Rillaboom regardless, but being able to you know, have that ability to pressure Basculegion like that is really solid. So Rillaboom does play nicely into that as well. Dondozo is still running around, and having something that can hit it really hard with grass type damage is fantastic. So Dondozo obviously is not going to like Rillaboom, but I believe even there's like crazy calcs that you can do to maximize the amount of damage you can do to Dondozo. I've seen like some Choice Band Rillaboom stuff running around, and like Woodhammer in Grassy Surge with Choice Band max attack is like almost one-shotting Dondozo with Commander activated, which is absolutely crazy. You're also seeing a lot of solo Dozo right now. Dozo's running around by itself because it is a nice bulky water type Pokemon. So I think that there are scenarios where you are going to encounter that solo Dozo, not with Tatsugiri, and be able to handle that very effectively with something like a Rillaboom. Now, in terms of Pokemon that you need to be slightly concerned about in terms of utilizing Rillaboom right now, you have Heatrans running around like crazy. Heatran is really solid. It's one of the best Pokemon right now in the format. Heatran just ignores Rillaboom's existence. It does not care. The only instance is if it runs like Stomping Tantrum, you might be slightly concerned as a Heatran, but most are running Terra Grass anyways, so you're able to just avoid that damage in general. Heatran is just incredibly solid right now. But other Pokemon that you're going to be seeing, like Landorus, either form, honestly, Landorus Therian or Landorus base form. I have both there. Let me see here. Lando, there it is. Both of these are running around, and they are really strong into Rillaboom. This one's mainly running like Sludge Bomb stuff and Earth Power, where this one is typically running like maybe Terra Flying with Terra Blast and Assault Vest. It's like a bulkier version with Intimidate, and this is just really opposing, really detrimental, especially because a lot are running U-Turn as well, especially if you're running the Assault Vest variant. This is super scary into a Rillaboom because you just intimidate the Rillaboom, it does less damage, then you can U-Turn or Terra Blast it and just rock it into next year. Really tough for Rillaboom to deal with this in general. Obviously, Chenpao Dragonite are still running around, and that could be a problem for Rillaboom. You have the ability to fake out, but Dragonite is often running Inner Focus now, and you can't flinch it, so that puts you in a really interesting spot. And a lot of running things like Aerial Ace or something, you're not seeing a whole lot of Terra Flying like we used to. You're seeing more Terra Normal with Extreme Speed because it's just super good right now. But they are running Aerial Ace for that flying type stab coverage, and that is very much a problem for Rillaboom. So that's something you have to pay attention to. Chenpao, obviously, just having access to Ice Spinner is going to be really problematic for Rillaboom. Not only does it do a lot of damage to Rillaboom, but it also removes the Grassy Surge, and you're not going to be doing as much damage with your Woodhammers, and also not getting that health back at the end of the turn. So another thing you have to be aware of, Chenpao is going to be very problematic. Now, other Pokemon, obviously, if you see them, they're going to be a problem, like, not Chenpao, Chi-Yu. I'm not seeing as many Chi-Yu. I honestly don't know its usage stats right now, but I'm not seeing near as many Chi-Yu, especially because of Urshifu Rapid Strike. Like, that Pokemon's everywhere, and Chi-Yu just doesn't play very favorably into it. So, not a lot of Chi-Yu. There are still popping up here and there, but obviously that is a Pokemon you need to be aware of. The birds in general, all of the legendary birds, I think personally the best of them are Galarian Moltres. You're occasionally seeing Zapdos pop up because Zapdos is just very nice with some good natural bulk. Galarian Zapdos is honestly really good on the right teams. that is popping up here and there. So there are a handful of options in terms of flying type Pokemon that are going to pose a lot of problems, especially in the form of the legendary birds. But all in all, Rillaboom is just a really fun Pokemon right now. It's really solid. It pairs very nicely with like Urshifu Rapid Strike. Because there are so many manual rain teams going around, Rillaboom plays very favorably into that, because you are just able to eat those fire type attacks that much more effectively because the rain is set. That, along with the Fire Water Grass core, you could run this with like Heatran and Urshifu Rapid Strike, and you have a nice core there. It's just a very solid Pokemon, especially considering like prior to now, after Regulation A, the only real decent grass type Pokemon you saw running around was Amoonguss. In Series 1, you were seeing a lot of like Meowscarada, but in Series 2 and Series 3, we really only saw Amoonguss as our like primary grass damage dealer. So having access to something like Rillaboom that is a bit more offensive opposed to something like Amoonguss is really nice and refreshing in the format as well. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And if you want to see anything else from me, check out any of the VGC videos that you see here on screen. Also check out the Discord, people over there hanging out, playing Pokemon all the time. But until next time, peace.